I think it's safe to say Strand is good in endgame activities, right? I think so, but I've noticed that we're missing some form of healing on the Titan subclass, which can get a bit frustrating at times, especially when soloing content. I can't tell you how many times I've been sent back to orbit because I had a sliver of health and recovery couldn't kick in fast enough. That's usually when I get shot in the toe by an ad way off in the distance, but we're getting off topic. What if I told you the answer to our healing problems has been right in front of our faces this whole time, in the form of an exotic called the Precious Scars? Yes, you heard that correctly. Today, we're going to break this helmet down, talk about why I think it's now an S-tier exotic since the release of Lightfall, and then put a simple strand build together to accompany it. Hello, you beautiful weirdos. How are you today? Let's talk about the Precious Scars. This helmet can be picked up from your local Zerd dealer or as a world drop, and the perk is called Kintsugi. Final blows from weapons matching our subclass creates a 60 HP burst of healing. After reviving a teammate or being revived, we gain an aura around us that provides a 100 HP overshield for 15 seconds for the whole team, as long as they stay in the aura. There is a 3-second cooldown on the healing burst when getting kills with the matching weapon, but the good news is, as long as we're killing, that cooldown is barely noticeable and should be more than enough to keep us alive, especially with trash mobs. When this helmet released, it was absolute garbage. The healing only gave us like 1 HP, which was just ridiculous. Come to find out, it was bugged. Unfortunately, it took Bungie way too long to fix it, and by the time they got around to it, players already shoved it in the vault and forgot it existed. Fast forward to present day, this helmet is fantastic and has gotten me through a lot of difficult content solo, but it's always suffered from being one of those exotics that's good in the right situations and never great all the time, like the Heart of Inmost Light. I think with the release of Lightfall and the Strand subclass, this may have changed and bumped it up a few brackets on the exotic tier list. Let me explain. One of the biggest concerns with Precious Scars was that its main perk, or healing, is tied to weapons matching our subclass. That's okay in mid-game and even some endgame activities, but we always ran into problems with match game and the terrible champion restrictions that were in place. Since Lightfall dropped, match game is a thing of the past and we now have access to more champion stopping power through the subclasses. This opens up the door for more possibilities with weapons that we actually like, and it only gets better with Strand because we can Mommy suspend all the ads in place with our barricade, which makes ad killing effortless no matter what the difficulty is. I put a very simple strand build together that I don't think is anything new, but I made it fit around the Precious Scars, lots of suspending because it makes endgame an absolute breeze, and weapon damage since our weapons are what's required to give us healing. For the suspension, we're using the Shackle Grenade to suspend targets when we hit them with it, and Drenger's Lash to send out a wave of strand that suspends when using our barricade. Plus, it's one of only 2 aspects, so we kinda have to. We're also pairing the fragments, Thread of Mind, with it to recover some of our class ability energy when defeating a suspended target, Thread of Generation to help get our Shackle Grenade faster when causing damage, Thread of Continuity to extend all of our suspension effects, and Thread of Fury for more melee energy when damaging targets with Tangle. The melee thing will make way more sense when we get to the mod. And for anyone who wasn't sure, the Thread of Mind fragment gives anywhere from 15 to 50% of our class ability energy back based on what tier the enemy is. But we're not done with the suspension just yet. We're also using the artifact mods Untangler and Threaded Blast. These two will suspend enemies when we destroy one of those balloon knots with a strand weapon and extend the blast radius of it so we snag more ads. In return, we get more barricade energy from suspended targets. The next 2 artifact mods, Multi-Siphon and Authorized Strand, have nothing to do with the suspension, but we need them to fit everything on the armor, and it would just be weird to not list them with the other artifact mods, so yeah, that's where they go. Since we are using our barricade as a way to suspend, we're also going to use it as a way to give our strand weapons a 17% damage increase with Strand Surge on the legs twice. This, paired with Reaper on the class item to produce an orb after using our barricade, will make sure we always have armor charges to sustain the strand weapon damage. Unfortunately, weapon surge mods cause our armor charges to decay. To counter this, we're going to make as many extra orbs as possible, gain as many stacks as we can, and extend how long it takes before the charge charges decay. We're going to do this with Strand Siphon on the helmet to create orbs from Strand weapon kills, bolstering detonation on the arms for more class energy when causing grenade damage, heavy-handed on the arms to create orbs from melee kills, and this is where that Fury fragment comes in. Charged up twice on the chest to increase the maximum number of charges we can hold, stacks on the legs to give an extra armor charge every time we pick up an orb, and time dilation on the mark to extend the armor charge decay timer. Don't worry, I'll leave a dim link in the description and have an infographic on the screen as well. See, I told you it was simple. I didn't add any consume stacks of armor charge mods like grenade kickstart to the build because I wanted us to always have those charges for weapon damage buffs. But if you feel like throwing more shackle grenades, it's okay to add one in. Just remember, grenade kickstart will eat all of your armor charges and that will take away from the buff. The gameplay loop is easy. It's just using our shackle grenade and barricade to suspend. In return, this gives us more barricades to do more suspending and create orbs for Strand Surge. The suspended targets will be easier to kill with the damage buff, which in return gives us healing from the precious scars. All the other mods are here to help us keep creating orbs to give us faster barricades. The hardest part of this whole build is deciding on what Strand weapons to use because it is a requirement. For those of you who stuck around to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you and ask what your favorite Strand weapon is. For me, it's the sidearm. I have some odd addiction to sidearms and SMGs. If you found this video helpful, say Stinky Tootsie Roll in the comments section. I have no clue what it means, but it's the second thing that popped in my head. Remember to be good to one another and have a fantastic day. Thank you!
And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude, crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.